Hi everybody, and welcome back to the next lesson here in this mini series that we're doing on drum solos and how to develop the different aspects of a drum solo and really make something that's engaging to your audience. And before we get too into it, I just want to extend a thank you to all those that did participate and leave comments and send me emails about the first lesson. Now, for those of you that either hadn't seen the last lesson or just don't quite remember what it was about, it was on the mental aspect of a drum solo. How to think about it, how to use your feelings to give out the same kind of energy to your audience. In this one, we're going to shift from the mental idea to the physical idea, because a lot of those questions ask me, okay, so I think about this stuff mentally, but I'm not Thomas Lang, so I don't have that same physicality down. I would have to say drums is probably the most physical of all instruments, so you really have to be in decent shape to be able to pull off some of these ideas. Nothing could crash a drum solo more than a beautiful idea floating into your head and then crashing your hands around the kit because they're just not physically prepared. Now, physicality is one of my specialties in terms of teaching. It's something I love to teach and something that students hate to learn. Now, I say that because this is the woodshedding. This is the part of drumming that's just, conditioned response. Now, the way to actually condition your muscles and get them to grow is actually conditioning your brain. Muscles don't grow by themselves. Basically, you got to put your body in some kind of distress. So it sends a signal to your mind that says, okay, we're in trouble here, so we better adapt or change, or we're either going to get hurt or we're going to die. Those are the two responses that your brain really understands, and that's what triggers your body to change. Now, some of you have asked, does that mean it's going to hurt, it's going to be painful? It's just that exhaustion pain. If you've ever done sit-ups to the point where your abs are really burning, it's that kind of thing. In fact, you never want to do any of this stuff with any kind of tension or tightness or bad form, because that could lead to all kinds of physical problems. And I certainly don't want anybody to injure themselves doing these type of exercises. So as a caveat and a disclaimer, I'm going to tell you right now, some of the stuff I show you in this lesson, make sure that you really have the form down. Make sure you really go through this stuff with a private instructor if you have somebody that helps you make sure everything's correct, your form is right, you're relaxed, you're breathing correctly, your posture is good. Things like carpal tunnel syndrome and tendinitis are very common amongst musicians in general, and generally it comes from bad form. All right, now that all that stuff is on the table here, let's talk about the physicality. So there's just going ahead and developing your muscles in a static situation. Now, I love these kind of exercises because it's the kind of thing that really gets you moving, and it's a little more mindless. You don't have to sit there and totally focus on it. So it's something you could do in front of the TV. It's something that you could do, when you're just kind of hanging out. And that exercise is the OK finger push-ups. That's what I like to call them. And I say OK because basically it comes from here. Now, if you've ever seen like this kind of thing, this is like the OK symbol, like, hey, OK. You want to put your hand in this kind of position, and you want to put your index finger and your thumb together, just like this, but don't squeeze. You never want to squeeze. This is going to represent your fulcrum. Now, what I like about this particular exercise is that you do not need drumsticks. I put my drumsticks away because you don't need drumsticks to do this. You could basically do this anywhere, anytime. Keep all your knuckles and everything very relaxed. Notice my fingers are straight and extended, and I have my OK. Now, if you see this, I'm going to want you to bend from here, from this knuckle, all the way up on top, okay, right where your palm is, this knuckle, and I want you to bring your fingers all the way in to your palm, like that. So we extend out, bring your fingers all the way in. Don't curl your fingers like that. Keep them in, bend them down, and we're going to do these like a push-up. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this fast. You can do it nice and slowly. Just try to keep it steady. In fact, sometimes I'll even put a metronome on and keep a steady pulse. Now, of course, the faster you go, the more workout you're going to get. So if we speed it up like that. Now, what you have to try to work on doing is really extending. Try to throw those fingers out. Really whip them out, really whip them in. Whip them out, whip them in. I don't know if you could hear this, but I'm actually getting a little snap on my palm because I'm really throwing it in, throwing it out, and then just trying to do this and hold it. Just go ahead and try that right now. Take 2 minutes, start with your weak hand if you could, which is most people's left hand. Hold it if you could do a metronome. If you don't have a metronome available, that's fine. Just try to keep it consistent. In and out, fully extended. Do that for 2 minutes. Check out how you feel. Notice how I'm extending all the way. And I'm not using a metronome right now, but you certainly could. It's certainly something that you could throw in there if you want to. But you can see you don't have to go very fast. You just have to extend your fingers and just stay relaxed. Now if you notice, you can see all these muscles going. See them all happening over here? They're really pushing. You can see all the ripples happening. That's already 30 seconds. Remember, don't squeeze on your fulcrum over here. You want to try to keep it nice and relaxed. Stay happy, because it does start hurting. Keep it going. Coming up on our first minute, we're going to do this for 2 minutes, 2 solid minutes here. Again, now see how I'm doing it. My wrist is moving just because that's what happens when I extend my fingers all the way out. Okay, we're done with the 1 minute marker. We're almost done. If you want more of a workout, you can just go faster. You can actually move your fingers faster. But you can even go slower if it's really too much for you. Just keep it relaxed. We only got just about 30 seconds left. Keep it going. If you need to slow down a little bit, slow down. But try to get a full extension. See, I'm slowing down, but I'm getting a full extension. Just keep it consistent. It's funny how you develop your muscles without even really doing anything. You know, no sticks, no anything. We're just sitting here doing this exercise. It's a great warm-up before you do anything. Okay, almost done. 5 seconds left. Okay. Now we're going to take it, shake it out. Let's go on to our right hand. Now your right hand's going to do it. I always like to start with my weak hand just to get it out of the way in case you get called away or you lose focus. But of course, if you're doing this with me, you shouldn't be losing focus. You should be sticking with it. Take a look at that timer. Make sure you stay on it. Okay, coming up on our first minute already with the right hand. Again, stay relaxed. Don't forget to breathe, too. You should breathe through these. Okay, our first minute down. Now, you could also probably tell at this point how much stronger your right hand is than your left hand if you're right-handed, like I am. I don't feel it nearly as much in my right hand. All right, down to about 40 seconds left. And again, I'm keeping it going. Really try to get a full extension. Come in, come out. Now you can certainly do this for longer. Also, you don't have to just do it for this amount of time. You could do it longer than that. That's it, almost done. Okay, coming up on 10 seconds now. Okay, here we go. 5 more seconds. Good. And let it relax, shake it out. Doing something like this every day is leaps and bounds for your playing. Because what you're doing is, if you could see any of this, you're working on all of these little muscles. I don't know if you can see all these things moving in my forearm here, but these are muscles that you really don't work on strength. You know, they're fast twitch muscles that work your fingers. But this is what's going to get you strong and build up that isolation. Something I explain to my private students with speed is inherently a student that's underdeveloped is going to get tight. They're going to get tense when they try to get fast. You want the opposite of that when you're playing drums. You don't want to get tight, you want to relax. Now, think about anything, not just drums, but anything that involves any kind of strength. If you try to pick up a weight that's way too heavy for you, what's going to happen to your body? Your whole body is going to tense. You're going to use your shoulders, you're going to use your back, you're going to use your legs. You're going to tighten up everything to try to lift that weight. But if you pick up a weight that's totally comfortable for you, you're just going to be able to lift it up very relaxed in a very normal way. Now that's a big range for different people. Someone that's used to going to the gym is going to have no problem lifting a heavier weight. It's going to feel easy to them. Whereas someone that's not used to it is going to have a real hard time and everything's going to tense up. Same thing works for the drums. If you're very, very developed, going fast will have zero tension because the muscles are there to support the motions that you're using. So another great exercise is where you actually utilize the stick as a tool to develop your muscles. Now this particular exercise is going to concentrate more on your hand itself, the grip and the actual muscles on the hand. So what you're going to do is just put your stick in between your thumb and say your index finger, just like that, create a fulcrum. And then you're just going to needle the stick back and forth. Now if you notice, I'm not really moving my wrist. I'm keeping it very straight, like that. And I'm trying to get a good arc back and forth with the stick. And then you just hold it. And you're going to hold that for, say, a minute. Now, a minute might be too long. You're going to start feeling this right away. 30 seconds to start is fine. But try to just keep it consistent. The faster you go and the more arc you give it, the more of a workout you're going to get. Now, say after 30 seconds or a minute, we're going to switch. Instead of doing our thumb and our index, we're going to switch it right to our middle and our thumb. So now my middle finger is doing it, if you could see that. Again, trying not to move my wrist all that much. You're going to hold that for 30 seconds or a minute, whatever you can handle. And then you're going to go ahead and move to your ring finger, which is the next one. If you can see, my ring finger is doing it there. Then, of course, after another 30 seconds, you'll go ahead and move to the pinky. And that's the last one. Now, I really can't get that ring finger out of the way, so it tends to kind of bounce over it like that. That's okay. Just so long as you try to isolate and move just your pinky while you're doing it. That's the trick. Now you go ahead and go through this type of exercises, again, starting with your weak hand first. So I want you to start on your left hand if you're right-handed. Now the stick might actually fall like that and you could just kind of prop it back up and keep on going. The idea is to get a workout. It's not being perfect. So you're just sitting here trying to develop that hand until it burns. And you're going to feel it pretty quickly if you're not used to doing this kind of thing. So go ahead and give that a shot. And I want you to pause the video, go through the 8 minutes, so 4 on this hand, 4 minutes on this hand, that's a minute on each finger. And when you start the video again, take note of how your hands are going to feel, of how different, just after one time, they're going to feel doing this. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video and you did what I said. Hopefully. I'm assuming that you did. So in that case, how do your hands feel? I mean, do you feel that burn? You should feel burn all in here and, in the back of your hand, but mostly in that thumb, mostly in here, where that fulcrum's going to kind of sit. That's going to really go a long way if you sit there and condition that to making your hands feel more relaxed. All right, so now that we've done that with their needling back and forth, we're going to go ahead and take this to the pad. Now I'm just going to do an abridged version of this for this lesson, but if you go to thedrummersalmanac.com and you're one of our members, you can actually take this through all the tempos. 1, 2, 1, and here we go. Okay, notice I'm in my left hand here, and I'm just working on my index finger and my thumb, playing 16th notes, staying nice and relaxed. Okay, we're going to move to the next finger. 1, 2, ready, go to the middle. Okay, now just notice I'm on my middle and my thumb. Okay, we're going to go to a ring finger. 1, 2, ring finger. Here it is now. And notice I have to extend my arm out a little bit because I'm just trying to keep my form straight. just pull up on that finger. Try to breathe and stay relaxed. Okay, let's go to our pinky. This is the hard one. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here it is. One, two, 1, 2. Let's go to the right hand now. Same thing. I'm actually going to shake out that left hand. Okay, let's go to the next finger. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and middle. So now you're on your middle and your thumb. Almost done. I know it hurts, but that's what it is when you're developing your muscles. Sometimes it hurts. Stay relaxed though. Try not to tense, and I don't want to see any of this. Just keep it in your fingers. 1, 2, ready, ring finger. Okay, now I switch to my ring finger. Sometimes it's good to move your elbow in and out like this. Keeps your shoulder relaxed, because it's easy to get stuck on your shoulder and lock. You don't want to lock, because that causes tension. 1, 2, pinky now. Now here, if you can see it, it's hard to see. You can see it on that angle. I'm just in my pinky and my thumb. Okay, here we go. All done. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and stop. What's the biggest problem with developing physicality in terms of a drum solo? The biggest problem is getting people to do the work, is getting them to get in and make those changes. That to me is the biggest challenge. That is the focus of everything I try to do in my teaching to get a student motivated. It's teaching them how to develop good practice skills. It's teaching them how to find and manage that time that they practice in ways that are so super efficient that they can really make a difference in their playing in a short amount of time. Because that's really what we're trying to do. Now the idea, again, consistency, focus, very, very important. None of these exercises that I'm showing you are rocket science. I mean, sitting here, this takes no skill whatsoever. You just have to do it. You got to do it every single day. Even multiple times a day. The more you do it, the more you see those transformations in your hands. Now I could sit here all day and go through all these type of different, strength building ideas. Of course, there's more than just the 2 I showed you. And notice I haven't even touched the drums yet. So imagine the exercises you could do for speed building and physicality on the actual drums. But at least that other stuff is a good mindless way to start getting yourself into the head of transforming your body and your physicality. So when you get into that mental state of playing a drum solo, your hands, your feet, your physicality just follows what's going on. So that's just going to wrap up the lesson on the physicality for right now. Like I said, there's so much more I could teach you, but if I keep on going, this video is going to be like 2 hours long. I'm trying to keep it a little more concise than that. But again, leave those comments. Let us know what you think. We do have one more lesson in this series coming your way where we're going to talk about the technique. We're going to talk about, okay, now we have the mental idea of how to make the drum solo engaging. We've developed our physicality, so now we can play everything, up to a certain speed, whatever tempo is called on us. Now, what do we play? What the heck do we do? Where does all the vocabulary come from? Well, that's the language that we got to start talking about. So the technique is going to be the language, and that's going to be our final lesson, and we're going to hit that up next. So I'll see you guys for that one.